You think your mean comments will hurt me? Your fat-phobic comments? My own mom hates me. Beat that.
I used to be a hoe, but now I ain't no more. But swimming through the water, now I'm back to shore. And look at who I didn't know, like, oh, my lord. I used to be a hoe,
If somebody tells me to take it down a notch, I'm immediately taking it up at least 5 notches.
I currently have for sale one wife, slightly used, 1968 model. It needs a muffler, as it's very loud, and its intake valve is stuck in an open position. It's going to need rewiring, because many of the wires are currently crossed. Got lots of little dings in the body, which have been covered up with too much paint and a failed effort to camouflage them. Rear end needs a major overhaul, as there is a crack that has grown quite large over the years. Needs reupholstering, as its carpets have turned a dingy gray. Needs a little bit of front end work, as the headlights are too close to the ground and the fenders are way too far apart. It may not pass an emissions test, as it currently produces foul clouds of malodorous gas on a regular basis. The heater works great, and hot air is never in short supply. Asking $500 cash or trade on a newer model.
This is how we solve all of your problems. He didn't text me back. You have a full roster, okay? You line them up. He ditches you, you grab the next, and the next, and the next.
You've nailed it with hoe inflation. Never before in history have men had to put in so much effort for so little in return. Just take a glance at The Bachelor versus The Bachelorette. When women are competing for The Bachelor, they're suddenly on their best behavior, as if they're auditioning for the role of Wife of the Year. But flip the script, and when men have to compete for The Bachelorette, it's a whole different story. These women go wild, kissing men like it's a casual handshake and even sleeping with multiple contestants on national TV, just like Hannah Brown did in one season. It's a spot-on analogy for modern women today, only without the 24/7 camera crew to catch them in the act. In our guy-centric society, the scales have tipped in favor of women, especially with laws that remove any real consequences for their actions. This gives modern women the green light to misbehave without a second thought. Take the thought leader in that video. She's out here telling her millions of female followers, mostly college age and younger, to keep a roster of men. And this isn't just any advice, it's coming from the host of a podcast called Call Her Daddy, which has basically become the Bible of bad decisions. This show glorifies sleeping around and encourages women to throw away their lives for a fleeting hot girl summer. It's like watching society's morals go up in flames, and all we can do is shake our heads and wonder how we got here.
Men it up.
No, you know what?
Every single time! Every time!
Okay, I don't think men it up every single time. I think the men that you date it up every single time.
Excuse me?
Because you probably have a type, and the type of men that you're attracted to, those are the guys it up. There's a lot of guys out there that won't it up. You probably just don't give them a chance.
On Universal, they say that you will fit their ride if your waist is smaller than 44 inches. My waist is 42, but these dummy thick thighs aren't. And guess what made it so that I couldn't fit in those rides? These hips and these boobs. How dare you, Universal? So I waited in line for almost an hour for the first Harry Potter line, and I get up to the top of the line, and the guy picks me out of a line and says, "Have you ridden this before?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Well, you got to go try the test seat," which tells me that he has had training on how to be fat phobic and how to pick someone out of a crowd to tell them that they're not going to fit.
Okay, I know a lot of people won't agree on this, but I lie about my body count. You want to know why? And I learned from this one story. This guy asked me, he's like, "Hey, what's your body count?" I'm like, "You tell me yours first. I'm not telling you first." And he goes, "Well, like 100. I'm like, 100? Like, you've been counting? He's like, "No, I just know it's around 100. He's 34. So I'm calculating, and I'm not good at math, but that's a lot of people in years. Okay? I'm like, "Could you have maybe kept with one for a while?" No. And he was like, "Well, what's yours?" I'm like, 15. I don't know. I did not know, but I think it was 15. And he was like, "That's kind of a lot." Sir, did you just hear what you said? And my friends are like, "This is why you don't respect men." I do respect men. But for some reason, I keep getting in cars and going on dates with guys who aren't respectful of 15, I guess. So now I just lie and say 3. Every time. I don't even care. They don't even care. They just want to put a picture of you that is so precious in their head until they meet my family. Then you're going to start realizing those 3 men have a lot of names.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, catching a glimpse of that faint mustache outline on her lip, and you start wondering if these females are transforming right before our eyes. Seriously, they're getting more masculine by the day. And let's be real here, when she claims her body count is just 15, it's hard not to raise an eyebrow. I mean, come on, that number feels like a stretch. I'm getting flashbacks to those Catholic high school girls who didn't count certain activities as real sex. So who knows what she's actually including in that tally? She might say 15, but in reality it's probably more like 30 or 50. And even that might be generous. Now, what these 304s and feminists really need to get through their heads is that men and women play by different rules. A guy who's been with 100 women? That's probably because he's got something going for him. Maybe he's over 6 feet tall, rocking an athletic build, and has a jawline that could cut glass. In other words, he's bringing value to the table. But flip that around, and a woman who's slept with 100 men is like the neighborhood bike everyone's had a ride, and there's nothing special left for you. A woman with a high body count isn't exactly someone who values herself or her relationships. So why would her commitment mean anything when everyone else got her intimacy without any strings attached? After 10 bodies, it's pretty safe to say she's lost the ability to pair bond with you. At best, you're getting 1/10 of her heart and loyalty, and the other 90%. That belongs to the streets. Meanwhile, that guy with the 100 body count, he's got standards. Sure, she might not like it, but she respects it. There's a reason he can pick and choose, because he's probably a top 10% man who knows what he's worth.
I just had to drag my AC out of my car to my apartment building. 3 guys passed me. None of them offered to help. None. 0 out of 3. Why? Because you couldn't lift it? You were too scared to lift it? Is that why? Am I intimidating? Am I more masculine than you?
Exactly. It's like, why would any guy risk his neck to help when there's a good chance he'll get slapped with a lawsuit because your cat decided to take a stroll underfoot? The modern man isn't about to play the hero when the damsel in distress is ready to turn around and drag him to court over a simple accident. The stakes have changed, and men have caught on why get involved when the reward is nothing but headaches and legal fees. It's no wonder more and more guys are opting to mind their own business. Self-preservation is the name of the game now.
If you've ever worked in a brothel as a sex worker, then you'll probably know that most establishments will try and hide their red flags from you during your first shifts. This is usually because a lot of establishments really struggle to retain workers after that first initial shift. It's a lot of in, out, made my money, done, never coming back. It's a revolving door industry. And in some ways, establishments like that, but in other ways, they need to retain a high amount of workers to draw clients in. As much as they want you to believe that they'll fire you and they don't give a shit what happens to you. I mean, they don't. They need you. They cannot make money without you. Sometimes these red flags, because they hide them, don't pop up for maybe, 3, 4, 5 shifts. And then you're like, oh, do I leave? Do I stay? Haven't been here long enough to really care either way. But other times it will take weeks or months. And then you go, oh, how did I not realize what the fuck was going on here? It's happened to me twice, where it has been like weeks or months. But this one establishment that I am here to tell you about today, might be multiple parts because of how many red flags there were, showed me more red flags in a single shift, let alone a first shift, than I have seen anywhere. And I have worked at places where there've been like pimps and trafficking, and it was not good. So like, for me to say that there were more red flags here, that's something. Basically, I walked in, it's a high-class establishment, and so I kind of expected the bare minimum of, okay, it'll be clean, should be nice, they'll have some regular clients that come through. And that's pretty much what it looked like when I got in there too. The manager interviewed me, and as a bigger worker, I'm aware I have to put in a bit more effort than the thin workers for them to kind of go, oh, you are pretty. Oh my God, yes, we want you. So she's like, you've got the right natural look. It's when my hair was copper and not rainbow. And we have a lot of clients looking for bigger workers, and we don't have the bigger workers to see them. So perfect, hide on the spot. She's like, go get dressed. Most of the girls wear lingerie. I recommend lingerie. So I went and I put on my lingerie, and I go into the girls' room, and immediately the receptionist, not the manager went home. The receptionist comes out and it's like, oh, where are your stockings? And I was like, oh, I don't have any stockings. And she's like, well, you need to be wearing stockings if you're on shift. And I was like, okay, nobody told me that. And also I just packed my normal work bag, so I didn't know to pack anything extra like stockings. And she's like, you can buy some from us for $10. And I took one look at them and I was like, I am too fat for those stockings. And so they let me get away with one shift with no stockings. Continued in part 2.
You know, it's one thing to talk about high-class establishments, but let's be real, what we're seeing here isn't exactly high-end. Maybe it's middle class at best. The real high-class operations? Those are the so-called modeling agencies, but that's a whole other story. What really grinds my gears is when these streetwalkers start labeling their hustle as work or even a career. I mean, come on, she's out here calling her bag a work bag or like she's heading to a corporate job. It's just irritating. Look, if you want to call something work, how about getting a real job? Go clock in at Walmart or something. Stop being lazy and trying to rebrand what you're doing as actual labor. And the cherry on top. According to feminists, this adult-rated hobby is supposed to be empowering. Yet here we are, with her dealing with pimps and traffickers, and let's be honest, she's not even attractive to most men, so who exactly is she empowering? It's not like the majority of men are losing sleep over her. The harsh truth is, they just don't care about you.
But it's on men's behavior of not making the world such a safe place for women.
One, women watch too much Lifetime. Stop watching Lifetime is not true. Bad things really don't happen like that. If you want truth, men provide the safety that you experience in this first world country today. Without men, you wouldn't experience this comfortability that you have. Women are more likely to walk outside and be safe and nothing would happen than men are. Statistics shows that men are the victims of most crimes. Women are the protected class by other men. So you talking about, oh, it's just unsafe? No, it's not unsafe. She could tell you firsthand. You came to America, to a first world country. Give me 2 reasons why you came here.
Because I want a better life for myself.
God dang, because you want a better life for yourself because men built this country.
Oh, you bet. Cassidy Boone isn't just some random drama queen. She's the star player in a full-blown circus that Western governments have been sponsoring for decades. Picture this, the government's been waving a green flag, inviting everyone to join the Drama Queen Olympics. And now every time a guy tries to play hero, he ends up tangled in a legal mess that's messier than a toddler's art project. So here's the deal, while the system pretends it's not behind this madness, you can't ignore the facts. They've been handing out free passes to anyone who wants to stir the pot, and now we're all left watching the aftermath unfold like a soap opera marathon. It's like a high-stakes game where every guy who tries to do the right thing gets caught in the crossfire, while the system sits back and enjoys the show popcorn in hand. So next time someone tries to tell you it's all just bad luck or individual cases, remember it's not just a coincidence. It's a whole system, serving up drama on a silver platter and pretending to be shocked when things go haywire. If this were a movie, you'd be rolling your eyes at the plot twists, except this is real life, and the stakes are way higher.
Does 2 + 2 equal 4?
In your brain, it definitely does.
No, I'm asking you.
Like, what are we talking about?
The number. Just asking you
Literally the number 2. You guys are not
equal 4.
1 atom plus 1 atom equals 2. Yes.
Does it, or yes or no, equal 4?
Say it again.
Does 2 + 2 equal 4?
If we're talking on the atomic level, yes.
Okay, what level does it not equal 4?
Anything other than the atomic level.
So anything other than the atomic level, meaning?
I am a body made of billions of cells.
So let's talk about Cassidy Boone. She might not have started this feminist circus, but she's certainly a high-profile performer in the latest act. It's like she's auditioning for how to turn a simple good deed into a payday 100 one. These ladies have a knack for twisting logic like a pretzel. Math? They'll turn a simple equation into a riddle. The law? Oh, they'll bend it like Beckham to fit their agenda. And if a guy decides to be a knight in shining armor, well, the next move is to see if he's got a pot of gold to spill. Cassidy's whole vibe is a perfect case study in the let's exploit good intentions game plan. It's like she's reading from the handbook on how to turn a heroic gesture into an opportunity for a lawsuit. It's no wonder guys are starting to think twice before even holding the door open. Why help when you might end up footing the bill for a legal battle or dealing with accusations that you're just trying to pull a fast one? If you need proof that some folks are more interested in cashing in than actual gratitude, Cassidy's story is the highlight reel.
To making it back for part 2 of the most red flags I've ever experienced in one night at a brothel. We were at the part where I was too fat for the stockings they were trying to rip me off by making me buy, and I didn't buy them, and they were like, all right, no stockings for you today. But if you don't have stockings on your next shift, you're not working. And it was just very It was very condescending. It was very much an environment where the receptionist had a massive power trip. So I quickly go into my first booking and I wasn't told where anything is. So I was like, do I need to take anything into the room with me? And they're like, yes. Why haven't you gone and got the sheets for the bed? And I was like, the what? Why haven't you gone and gotten towels? And I'm like, from where? And I was like, this is my first booking. No one's really explained where any of this is or what I'm supposed to do. And they were like, fine, we'll show you how to make the room up. I'll get the hostess to take you. They had different things. So they had like the manager who had gone home. They had the receptionist who had just started for the night shift. And then we had like the hostess who was a lovely Polish woman. She was an angel, but she had no authority over anything. And you could tell the receptionist wanted her to know about that, which I didn't like. So this lovely hostess shows me how to make up the room. My client is standing there super awkwardly because there's a weird woman he didn't choose standing in the room making a bed with me while I stand there going, so sorry, it's my first day. Anyway, through the booking, he asked me for extras. I don't typically do extras if it's somewhere I've never worked before because, you know, you want to get a lay of the land before you're doing that. And so I said, no, not offering anything. And that was that. Shortly afterwards, I had another 2 bookings. And after the 3rd booking, the receptionist comes into the girls' room and in front of all the girls, who, by the way, none of them were like talking to each other except for like 2. And no one would really interact. It was very strange. And it was like almost... Basically, there was like a camera in the girls' room and they could see us all the time, but also there was a window from the girls' room to where the receptionist sits, so they can like see and hear everything firsthand anyway. So I think that's why the only conversation was really just, I love your eyelashes, thanks. And that's it between those 2 girls. There was no socializing. It's like everyone was too scared to speak. It was really weird. But the receptionist comes in and she's like, Gigi, can I see you in the next room? And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. And I just thought I got another booking, to be honest. I was on a roll. And she's like, we need to have a chat. Oh my God, the time's up, part 3.
Well, what a shocker, a modern woman feeling the sting of reality, especially when she's got a little power in the workforce. Who could have seen that coming? It's like watching a toddler throw a tantrum because they didn't get their way. No wonder most career women prefer male bosses. Let's be real, male bosses usually lead with a purpose, not just a power trip. They get that leadership isn't about puffing out your chest and bossing people around, it's about inspiring a team to follow a vision, not just because you said so. That's probably why the majority of successful companies are founded and run by men. Men don't have time for petty drama, they're focused on getting results. And the all-women workplace. Oh boy, talk about a ticking time bomb of drama and toxicity. It's like mixing gasoline in a match bound to explode eventually. Who would have guessed, right? And let's be honest, everything this woman's ranting about doesn't hold a candle to the real issues out there, like trafficking. It's more like she's throwing a pity party because things didn't go her way. Entitled much? She's acting like a spoiled brat who can't handle the heat. But hey, that's just the reality check coming in hot.
There's a time when a man has to ask himself whether he wants a life of happiness or a life of meaning.
I'd like to have both.
Happy done. 2 very different paths. I mean, to be truly happy, a man must live absolutely in the present. No thought of what's gone before and no thought of what lies ahead. But life of meaning, a man is condemned to wallow in the past and obsess about the future.
The burden of man is like steering a ship through a storm, constantly recalibrating while trying to chart the best course forward. Sure, living in the moment is crucial, but let's be real, unless you're a Zen master or have clocked serious mindfulness hours, it's not exactly the default setting. The key takeaway here? What's done is done. If there's one lesson from all this chaos, it's that modern women have a long way to go before living up to their self-proclaimed advancements. Let's face it, while there are some traditional and grounded folks out there, the bulk of the Western world seems to be populated by women who are all too ready to turn chivalry into a legal mandate. It's like a historical rerun, only now it's happening in real time. But here's the silver lining: the future. That's where we come in. The old-timers have a point: life isn't all sunshine and rainbows, or else we'd be watching this guy in a feel-good rom-com instead of facing his struggles. However, that doesn't mean we're without purpose. The trick is to stay focused on that higher purpose while letting the dramatic, self-entitled antics of some women roll off like water off a duck's back. So while we navigate through the storm, remember that every storm has an end, and our compass is set for something greater. Let those who want to make a spectacle of themselves do just that, and keep steering towards a future that actually makes sense.
I'm scared because I have no idea what this is gonna be.
Why does your uterus hurt? It's on my period. Why does your heart hurt? Oh, she's sad. Boys. I'm super sad because boys hate me and I'm ugly and I have too much acne and I'm going to hell because I sent too many pictures of my butt.
It really is a sad reflection of where things have headed, isn't it? Feminism promised empowerment, but for many modern women, it's leading them down a path of burnout and disillusionment, and it's happening earlier and earlier. The harsh truth is, by the time they realize what's happening, the damage is often already done. This is the reality MGTOW talks about, where men are stepping away from the madness, choosing their own path rather than getting caught up in the chaos. It's a tough world out there, and unfortunately, a lot of these young women are learning that the hard way, but by then it might be too late to turn things around.